Ristretto. A ristretto is a short shot of espresso made with the same amount of ground coffee but only half the water. The word means restricted in Italian, referring to the restricted flow of water through the grounds. Because extraction stops earlier, a ristretto captures the sweetest and most aromatic compounds from the coffee before the bitter ones have a chance to dissolve. The result is a more concentrated, intensely flavored shot that is paradoxically less bitter than a regular espresso. Many specialty coffee shops now default to ristretto shots in drinks like flat whites and cortados to get a sweeter, more rounded flavor. A lungo is the opposite of a ristretto. It uses the same amount of coffee grounds but twice the water, pulling a longer shot. The word means long in Italian. The extra water extracts more from the grounds, including some of the more bitter compounds that a regular espresso leaves behind, so the flavor is more intense but also slightly harsher. It sits between an espresso and an Americano in terms of dilution. Unlike an Americano, where hot water is added after brewing, in a lungo the extra water passes through the grounds during extraction, making the flavor profile fundamentally different. Con panna. Con panna means with cream in Italian, and it is exactly that. A shot of espresso topped with a dollop of whipped cream. It is served in a small demi-tasse cup, and the cream slowly melts into the hot coffee below. The drink is popular in Austria and Central Europe, where it is known as an Einspänner, traditionally served in a tall glass so the cream sits prominently on top. In Vienna, coffee culture is so deeply rooted that Viennese coffeehouse culture was added to the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List in 2011. The cream softens the bitterness of the espresso without diluting it the way milk does. Macchiato. A macchiato is an espresso with just a small splash of steamed milk or foam on top. The word macchiato means stained or marked in Italian, describing how the milk marks the surface of the shot. A traditional Italian espresso macchiato is tiny, only slightly larger than a regular espresso. The latte macchiato, popular in North America and Germany, inverts the ratio entirely. It is a glass of steamed milk stained with espresso poured through the foam. Despite sharing a name, the two drinks are almost nothing alike in size, texture, or intention. Cortado. A cortado is a small coffee drink from Spain made with equal parts espresso and warm milk. The word comes from the Spanish cortar, meaning to cut, referring to how the milk cuts through the acidity of the espresso. It is typically served in a small glass and sits between a macchiato and a flat white in terms of milk ratio. In Cuba, a similar drink called a cortadito uses sweetened condensed milk instead of fresh milk, making it noticeably richer and sweeter. The cortado became popular in specialty coffee circles globally in the 2000s as coffee drinkers began seeking drinks that highlighted the espresso rather than masking it. Irish coffee was invented in 1943 by a chef named Joe Sheridan at Foynes Air Base in Ireland, now the site of Shannon Airport. When a transatlantic flying boat service returned due to bad weather, Sheridan added whiskey to the coffee to warm the passengers. When an American journalist asked whether they were drinking Brazilian coffee, Sheridan answered that it was Irish coffee, and the name stuck. The drink is made with hot brewed coffee, Irish whiskey, sugar, and lightly whipped cream poured over the back of a spoon so it floats on top. A writer named Stanton Delaplane later brought the recipe to the Buena Vista Cafe in San Francisco in 1952, which helped popularize it across North America. Café de Olla is a traditional Mexican coffee brewed in a clay pot, but unlike the Café de Olla mentioned in some recipes, this version is the ancient indigenous preparation made specifically with cinnamon and piloncillo, an unrefined cane sugar. The clay pot, called an olla de barro, imparts a subtle earthy mineral quality to the brew that a metal or glass vessel cannot replicate. The drink has been made in Mexico for centuries and is considered a cultural staple, especially in rural communities. It is commonly served during Dia de los Muertos celebrations and Christmas posadas. The combination of cinnamon and piloncillo means it requires no added sugar or cream to feel complete. Café Touba. Café Touba is the most consumed drink in Senegal and is deeply connected to the Murid Brotherhood, a major Islamic Sufi order founded there in the late 1800s. It is brewed with coffee and a West African spice called selim pepper, also known as grains of selim, which gives it a warm, slightly medicinal and smoky flavor, unlike any other coffee in the world. The drink is named after the holy city of Touba in Senegal and is tied to the teachings of the Brotherhood's founder, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. Street vendors called talibés brew and sell it from large thermoses throughout Dakar and across the country. Drinking it is considered both a daily ritual and a spiritual act by many Senegalese people. Frappé. The Greek frappé is a cold, foamy coffee made from instant coffee, sugar, and cold water shaken vigorously until it produces a thick light brown foam, then poured over ice. It was invented by accident in 1957 at a trade fair in Thessaloniki, when a Nescafé representative named Dimitris Vakandios could not find hot water for his coffee break and mixed instant coffee with cold water in a cocktail shaker. The foam it produced surprised him enough to develop it into a drink. It became the defining everyday coffee of Greece and is still overwhelmingly popular there, even as espresso-based cold drinks have spread globally. Greeks drink it slowly over hours, letting the ice melt and the foam settle. Cascara. Cascara is not made from coffee beans at all. It is brewed from the dried husks of the coffee cherry, the fruit that surrounds the bean. The word cascara means husk or peel in Spanish. After the beans are removed during coffee processing, the leftover dried skins are steeped in hot water to make a drink that tastes somewhere between tea, hibiscus, and tamarind with a light sweetness and mild caffeine content. It has been consumed for centuries in Yemen, where it is called kishir and is often spiced with ginger. In Ethiopia, a similar drink called hashara is a daily beverage in coffee-producing regions. In Western markets, Cascara only gained commercial attention around 2015 as specialty coffee shops began looking for ways to reduce waste from coffee processing. Kopi Luwak. Kopi Luwak is one of the rarest and most expensive coffees in the world. It is made from coffee beans that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of the Asian palm civet, a small cat-like animal native to Southeast Asia. During digestion, enzymes in the civet's stomach partially break down proteins in the beans in a way that is said to reduce bitterness and produce a smoother, more complex flavor. The beans are collected from the droppings, cleaned, roasted, and sold, sometimes for hundreds of dollars per pound. The practice originated during Dutch colonial rule in Indonesia, when farmers forbidden from harvesting coffee for themselves began collecting beans from what civets had eaten in the wild. Today, rising demand has led to civets being caged and force-fed, which is widely condemned by animal welfare organizations.